Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Todd Cheek coming at you with another episode of Living Your Best Life. And of course, I just want to say thank you so much for joining in this afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you are, whenever you are watching this episode here. Of course, what we do in our show is we invite professionals on to talk about what they do and how what they do is contributing to a healthier society, a wealthier society, or just a better society in general. And so we go out and we find these professionals that are doing just that, helping people live their best lives. Today, we have an awesome lady that's going to be joining us. She is a new term that I just learned, a cancer coach. And I thought that was pretty interesting because it's my first time hearing that. But she's also a nutrition coach. And I think those two definitely, can merge, because I think if you know someone that's going through cancer, you probably either know the challenges or observing those challenges that they're dealing with. And you do need that support. And that's what she does. She's an awesome coach that's helping people deal with the challenges of cancer, but also helping them with the nutritional component while they're going through the cancer challenges. So listen, get in contact with this lady, Miss Zoraida Morales. She's out of the New York, New Jersey area, up in that northern area. Please do reach out to her because she's doing some great things. So like the button or like the whatever down there, click the like or what have you. Share this information with as many people that you know that are dealing with this issue, because people need the support. So before we get on to the show, this shows promo that we're doing this week, because I think as we all are hopefully getting older, that we can get older or age gracefully. And so that's one thing that I'm really hoping that I can do, and hope that I am doing through exercise and hopefully eating better and things like that. But at the same time too, is correct and proper supplementation is a must. Okay, so the promo this week, everyone, is Core 3. You're going to see it in the commercial. We want to make sure that you're getting the antioxidants and the really good antioxidants in your body, because bottom line, if you're breathing, yes, you need antioxidants. Okay, if you're getting older, yes, you need antioxidants. But also the Core 3 is really three supplementations. You have an antioxidant called OPC3. You have what's called, everyone's talking about it right now, it's called NADS, and magnesium to help you sleep better throughout the night, where we're talking about quality sleep. So check out the commercial, everyone, and you get a really good special. It's a really good price on it. And I'll see you on the other side of the commercial. Remember, okay, get in contact with Miss Zoraida Morales, and we'll go from there. But once again, I'll see you on the other side of the commercial, and you guys take care now. Bye-bye.
Maintaining a healthy sleep, fitness, and diet routine can be challenging as we juggle life's demands and stressors. Introducing Core 3 Health: Restore, Rebuild, and Reset. It's the solution to promote healthy cellular function and align your sleep and energy cycles with your busy life. Step 1, Restore. Kickstart your day with Isotonics OPC3 and Isotonics Magnesium, supporting energy, mental balance, and productivity. Step 2, Rebuild. Maintain cellular regeneration, healthy aging, and metabolism with Prime NAD+. Step 3, Reset with Isotonics Magnesium for better sleep and balanced neurotransmitters. In a world filled with distractions and chaos, find balance with Core 3 Health to restore, rebuild, and reset. The most valuable thing you have is you.
So welcome back, everybody. So listen, take advantage of our latest promo, okay? So please take advantage of that. So like I said, everyone, welcome to the show, Living Your Best Life. And of course, we're talking with an awesome lady that I had the opportunity to meet online, and I had the opportunity to listen to her story. And so we're going to be talking about today a serious topic. And if you aren't dealing with cancer, I know that you know someone that probably is, and we want to discuss this today because her story is so powerful and so I would say motivational that when I listened to it, it brought me to tears. And so I know that anyone out there that's dealing with the struggle of cancer or knows someone that's dealing with the issue of cancer, you're going to be definitely impacted by her story. This is Mrs. Zoraida Morales this afternoon coming to Living Your Best Life. And I want to say thank you once again for just being, you know, just coming and hanging out with me for a few minutes today.
Oh, Todd, it is my pleasure. Thank you so much for
Yes,
wanting to hear my story. Um,
yes.
you were a great listener, and
Oh,
the time went by so fast. And I thank you. I thank you for helping me share this because
yeah.
there's a lot of people out there that do not know that you can live the life you want to live, that you can
Mm,
live a life by design, not default.
mm-hmm,
And I'm
mm-hmm.
not saying, I'm not saying that that's for everyone, right? But for those who want it, you
Yeah.
can attempt it.
Wow. 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 So, what I want the audience to know right quick is, of course, your background, but also what you do with regards to not only being a cancer coach, which is a very unique title. I've never heard of that before, so thank you for that. But also, you're a nutrition coach, helping people just, you, you know, live their best life through the challenge, that they're going through nutrition wise. And that's so important. So I would love for you to kind of like start there, just sharing with the world and everyone that's listening here about, you being a cancer coach and also the nutrition coach and how they do merge.
Oh, thank you for that. I've always eaten healthy, but when I got my cancer diagnosis, I came to the realization, especially after my oncologist said, you need to change your eating habits. I had no idea what that meant, right?
Hmm.
He said, you know what, Sarita, up level your nutrition. I had no idea what that meant. And it took me years to really understand that my interpretation is that I needed to improve my mental, physical, and spiritual nutrition.
Mm,
And that in my emotions, in my fitness, in my relationships with food, movement, spirituality,
hmm,
and lifestyle.
mm,
So
mm.
I don't know what he thought it meant, but that's my interpretation.
And that is so important. And that's another thing that I didn't touch on that, we went a little bit into the spiritual part of who you are. And that is a huge foundation
Very
of,
huge for me.
I would say, probably why you are where you are today.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I would never have been able to make the shift from an investment banking administrative manager to a nutrition cancer coach without the spirituality portion.
Mm-hmm.
I get it now.
Mm, 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 mm. So let's go back and, a little bit in your history, because you're out of the awesome state of New York, but even better
Yeah,
than that, you're out of like the, New York City area and all.
I'm in the
And,
New York City
you
area.
know, yes. And so, I am in my time in New York City and I do miss it, some parts of it anyway and all. But let's go back in history because I just found that, your childhood was rather unique also. And that typical New York, that hard life. And I would love, for people just to learn a little bit about who Zoraida is and let them get to know you even on a deeper level.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't always have the life that I'm living now. I was born into a life of poverty. I
Hmm.
was born and raised in the South Bronx and in generations of poverty
Hmm.
coming from Puerto Rico, um, Portugal. I mean, my ancestry, and I've been working on that and researching it for the last 15 years, comes from Cameroon, Senegal, Portugal, Spain, France, Native American. So, my background, when I look at it, my ancestral background, it consists of slaves, slave
Hmm.
owners,
Hmm.
rape,
Hmm.
incense, bad behavior, abandonment. And so here I am, born in the 60s in the South Bronx. And I could tell you, I don't know if I mentioned this story, but here I am about five 5 years old, and I'm around the corner from where I live. And in the 60s, you could do that, right? You could actually,
Mhm.
as a little
Yeah.
kid, you could just go around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And my grandmother lived, in that neighborhood. So I'm walking, and I see my father, and
Mhm.
he is holding hands with a woman. And
Mhm.
this woman is not my mother,
Mhm.
but she and my mother both have this big belly. Now I'm five
Mhm.
years old, and I don't know what that means.
Mhm.
But I'm the oldest of four, and I was daddy's little girl, and I'm going, Papi, Papi, right? And he totally ignores me, and he
Mhm.
just walks right by me, like you know, almost like in a Scorsese movie in black and white.
Mhm.
And that was the moment he broke my heart.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
I didn't really know, I couldn't verbalize it, but I knew that my heart was broken.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, I don't know all the details. My mother could tell you more, but in the 70s, my mother was on welfare with four
Mhm.
children under 10, working during the day and going to college at night because she knew, oh, and no child support either, because he abandoned us. He literally started a family while he had a family. So he just abandoned us, and that was it. I never saw him again until last year, which is another story. Yeah. And
Right.
so
Wait, how many years? I'm sorry. How many years is that? Because that's like
it's 53 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I had to stop you on that one because I had to like hope
Yeah.
somebody knows the math because I'm terrible
Yeah.
at math. No,
Yeah.
so wow,
Yeah.
wow,
I know.
wow.
I know. The good thing, because I don't want to digress, but the good thing was that because I had done so much work on myself, on my
Mhm.
spirituality, which is my foundation, and then the mental and physical portion, that when I met him, my 7-year-old self didn't take it personal. My
Mhm.
7-year-old self said, I feel sorry for him. I forgive him because he
Mhm.
didn't know what he didn't know.
Mhm.
And his actions do not reflect on me. Now, granted,
Mhm.
I've had to do a lot of work in order to say
Yeah.
those things and feel those things. And I actually, to make a long story short, I just finished making funeral arrangements for him
Mhm.
because my two sisters are now the power of attorney for him. And so it's because he is 82 years old and he has dementia.
Mhm.
We're ready. We're getting ready. And, I guess we all have forgiven him
Mhm.
for what transpired. And so, yeah. And so I wouldn't have been able to. It hurt. Don't get me wrong. My heart was broken when I saw him. I mean, it brought back all those feelings, but because I am somewhat, I don't know if I'm 100% healed, I was able to forgive him. And so I didn't feel it in my body the way I felt it years ago.
Mhm.
And that's the difference.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
feel that angst in my body anymore.
yeah.
And so I'm able to move on.
Now, did he meet you in the part of your post cancer, or during your post your cancer issue?
I met him after, while in remission because I'm celebrating 28 months in remission
Awesome.
after
Awesome.
13 years of taking chemotherapy.
13 years.
13 years.
You are a warrior.
Yeah, I feel like a warrior. Actually, I feel like a thriver now
Okay.
because
What's the
now I
difference?
feel like I'm thriving. As a
Uh,
warrior, I was being more reactive, right?
hmm
I was
hmm
fighting for my life. And, I had a 3 and a 6-year-old who I wanted to see grow up.
hmm
But now it's 15 years later since I've gotten the diagnosis, and it's now that I'm beginning in 2023 is when I started to feel like a thriver. Like,
mm
okay, I'm more responsive, not as reactive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, that totally makes sense. And that's, two words that I always, speak, when I'm speaking with people sometimes, being responsive to being reactive. And you have two options here, how you respond to a situation, how you react to a situation. So you know what that's all about.
Yes.
And thank you for that, because like I said, I was wondering what your thoughts were, and the differences was, between being a warrior and a thriver. And so that breaks it down perfectly. Thanks for that.
Well, thank
And
you for the
also,
question because I never thought about it until you asked me. So now I know.
yeah, you got to be quick, on your feet here, so awesome.
I
But,
just had a download, you know?
yeah. But
Yeah.
that, like I said, so we didn't talk about that. I didn't know that from the first time that I spoke about you. So, like I said, your life story is just unfolding, as we speak more and more and more. And the more I hear about your life's journey, the more I impress with who you are today and all, because, so many people, and we haven't even gotten to the point where now you're hit with cancer. We haven't even gotten to that point yet. So now you're dealing with, a home of growing up and not having any connection and or contact with your father. And already that void is already there. And so that's a challenge for so many people to overcome. And still they're trying to deal with those things today. And so, like I said, we haven't even touched on, the cancer part. And as I've learned and listened to your story, it's one thing after the other. But once again, I'm looking at you today, and I want everyone to look at this lady as, today, right now. Because another thing is this. You heard her say in the 60s, right? And what does that tell you? Most people, and I was blown away when she told me her age. Now, she doesn't have to, share it here, but that's up to her. But I just kind of like give you an idea. When she said that, born in the 60s, that should already tell you, that she's not the 40-year-old person that you might be thinking you are looking at right now. So, but you've taken such
Yeah.
good care of yourself, and congratulations on that.
Well, you know what?
And
I can take a little bit of credit for it. My family has great genes, by the way.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and but I do take really good care of myself. And now is that it's 2024, I'm going to be celebrating my 61st birthday.
Look at that. There we go, everyone. She laid it out there for you. And so there is definitely always hope and possibilities of just overcoming. And that's the main thing that I, wanted everyone to take away today. So like I said, we're moving up from your childhood, and we're going to skip a few years and deal with when you got the word about cancer, which was around what year was that?
Wow. So I was recovering from surgery and I was 3 months immobile when I got the diagnosis that I had cancer. And
Mhm.
so I'm about to start a new job search because I was working for Morgan Stanley as an administrative manager, and I was having my third surgery, and I had this feeling, you just your intuition, and
Mhm.
like they're trying to phase me out, right?
Mm,
Because you know corporate America likes people who are healthy and can give them 20-hour days.
mhm,
And I used to work 10, 12-hour days, but I couldn't. And so it's November, no, it's October, and I say, okay, it's time to get an annual physical. I'll do this before my job search. And I go to the doctor, and the doctor, he's known me for a few years, and basically we're just catching up and talking about our
mhm,
children while
mhm,
I'm taking, this blood work, and he's taking all this information. And he calls me the next day and he goes, Zoraida, are you feeling okay? Your white levels are really through the roof. And I said, well, I'm a bit run down. I have a 3-year-old, I have a 6-year-old. I work 10-hour days. I work in investment banking. I have a family, a home, there's a lot going on. So I'm always run down.
Mhm.
So he's like, come by the next day and have some blood work. Well, the numbers tripled. I went back the following day, the numbers tripled again. Now that's not a good sign right there, but I'm not a doctor. I don't know that. By the fourth day, he says, look, I need you to go see a hematologist. Anyone, just go to the nearest one. And I'm saying to him, what are you looking for? Because now my intuition is telling me something's not right, and this is a huge, big deal, but I don't want to get ahead of myself, right? And I'm an optimistic person. And he's like, I think you have, and I can't remember the word he said, but it wasn't anything with cancer.
Mhm.
But I knew it was going to be something big. So I lived in Sayreville, New Jersey, in the suburbs, and I went to someone who was around the corner, someone I've never met. And so I make an appointment, and I have some blood work done. 2 tubes. 30 minutes later, she sits me down. Now, I don't know this woman. And she
Mhm.
says, you have chronic myeloid leukemia. And I've
Mhm.
scheduled you for a bone marrow biopsy on Monday. And I
Mhm.
look at her and I'm
Yeah.
like, what? And she just repeated it very stoically. And I said, you have the wrong chart.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not the person you should be giving this news to, because, I was like, there's no way this is happening to me. And she said, this was a Friday, and she goes, you're scheduled for a bone marrow biopsy. And I think I almost cursed at her. I can't remember, but I know she got scared because
Mhm.
I was like, you've got it all wrong, lady.
Right, right, right.
And I remember it raining and the rain pelting on my car as I'm driving home, and I'm crying.
Mhm.
And I only have 2 blocks to go. And
Mhm.
I call my husband, and we both worked in finance at the time. And I said, Ed, I've got cancer.
Mhm.
And he was like, what? And I said, I just came from the doctor and she told me I have cancer. And he was like, I'm coming home. Now
Mhm.
we lived in New Jersey and we both worked in New York. So it's like a 2-hour commute.
Mhm.
So the longest 2 hours. And I
Mhm.
gotta tell you that when he came home, I don't even remember what happened, but what I do remember is that evening, us holding each other and just crying
Mhm.
because we had no idea what it meant.
Yeah.
But we did know that it was gonna change everything.
Mhm. Wow. Wow. Can't imagine, hearing those
I'm sorry,
those words.
I still
No,
relive it because
yeah,
it's such a powerful moment. You just never forget it.
yeah, yeah. And I can imagine hearing those words. And, it's we're always, on the, you never know when these things will pop up in your life. Whatever kind of health issues, that you might be uh, unknowingly and just surprised with. And it's like, now what? And if you could kind of like share that now what type of, you know, journey next, because you've got the diagnosis, you had to deal with the heartless, nurse, that you had to deal with, but now and so now what? What's how does life
Now what?
yeah, how does life look for you and your husband, your family? And because you said earlier, it's 13 years of chemo,
Yeah, yeah.
so take us through that and what does that look like for you and your family at this point in time?
The first thing, I don't know if it's because I'm a type A person, but the first thing I thought of is I just registered and paid $15,000 to go back to college.
Mhm.
So here I was, right? I was going to start restart my college studies again that January, and here it is November, and it's November 14th. So it's a few
Mhm.
days from Thanksgiving and the
Mhm.
holidays,
Mhm.
which made it even tougher. So,
Mm.
my husband and I had to, we had a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And so here's what it looks like. We're doing a lot of whispering because we don't want the children to hear.
Mm.
The children are noticing that we're not laughing as much, right? There's not laughter in the home. Um, and joyful conversations. It's kind of quiet, and so I decided that I'm still going to do a year of college
Mhm.
because it was
Mhm.
how I used to cope,
Yeah.
right? Just
Yeah.
just
Keep
go,
going.
keep going. It's how I
Mhm.
used to cope. And I say used to because I'm not that way anymore. But
Yeah.
so I didn't tell my siblings or my mother until January, because we had to get a grip on it. Like, what does
Mhm.
this mean? And I mean, you're
Yeah.
never really ready for what does it mean. And so I knew that I was going to have to console my family. I was going to have to take care of them. I was going to have
Mhm.
to give them hugs to tell them I was okay. How was I going to
Mhm.
say that when I had no idea how I was going to be?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, that Monday, I go for the bone marrow biopsy. And by the way, they gave me no medication. So here's this long needle, about 12 inches. At least that's what my ex-husband says. It was like
Yeah.
12 inches because he saw the whole
Wow.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I meditated through the whole thing. And basically, they put that 12-inch needle in my bone, in my hip bone,
Mhm.
so that they can get a benchmark of how much cancer was in my body. And I was lucky that I was, so I had chronic myeloid leukemia. There's no stage 1, 2, 3. There's A,
Mhm.
B, C. So there's acute, there's blastic, and there's chronic.
Mm.
I was lucky enough to be chronic, which is the equivalent of a stage 0, stage 1.
Okay. Gotcha. 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 Chronic
And,
to me sounds extreme. Chronic to me
oh yeah,
sounds
chronic
like,
sounds really, yeah. But,
yeah. Yeah.
and so he and I made a deal that we're not going to talk about it with anyone until I was ready.
Mhm.
And I was going to continue my studies because now I wasn't going to look for a job, right? Now I was like, you know what? I just want to focus on something. And in hindsight, it was probably good that I did have something to focus on. But then I see where it hurt. It hurt me in my recovery. And so, I am now putting all my energy into my studies while taking chemotherapy, while feeling sick, while reading up about the new diagnosis, while trying to determine what my life is going to look like, while just
Mhm.
I was learning. I was learning everywhere. I was learning how to be
Yeah. Yeah.
a cancer person and
Yeah.
learning how to finish getting my a degree. And I told my family after the holidays, and my mother said, "You bitch, you tell me now, like
Yeah.
now." And I was like, I couldn't. I had to wrap myself around it.
Yeah.
And I said, I need
Yeah.
for you to understand that this is not
Yeah.
about you, it's about me. And I know it's
Mhm.
hurting you because I'm your daughter and you love me. But I need for you to understand that I needed to wrap myself around this.
Mhm.
And I had to, believe it or not, I was the one actually consoling them again.
Mhm. Mhm.
I had a sister who didn't call me for 3 weeks because she didn't know what to say. Because this is what happens, you know, there's no protocol for this diagnosis, for this news. And it hits
Mhm.
hard because it brings
Mhm.
up all your trauma,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So it
Yeah.
brought up her trauma. It brought up her abandonment issues. It brought up a whole bunch of stuff. So a year later is when I finally said, I need a therapist. I need
Mhm.
someone to help me mentally get my mind into this because I still wasn't, I still was trying to be that investment banker. Oh, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. I'm good. And I never knew how to ask for help because I wasn't brought up
Mm.
to ask for help. I mean,
Mhm.
my mother, because of all we went through in our childhood, and I'm the oldest, so she brought me up like a man.
Mhm.
You're going to college, you are never going to depend on a man. That was her exact words.
Mhm.
You're going to be self-reliant, dependent, blah, 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 blah. So I never knew how to ask for help.
Mhm.
And in my family, asking for help was a sign of weakness,
Mhm.
which made me vulnerable. And
Mhm.
so I said, this is not how I want to live. I
Mhm.
need a therapist. Now, there was no such thing as a cancer coach.
Right.
And so I went from one therapist to another because once I asked for a therapist to help me uncover and wrap myself around the cancer. Once I was good with that, I was like, okay, can we unwrap my childhood now?
Mm.
Because what was holding me back from making that quick mindset shift was my childhood trauma and my
Mhm.
limiting beliefs.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I went through how many years? 10 years of therapy. Now, I had
Mhm.
already done 5 years of therapy prior to the cancer because I have 5 miscarriages.
Mhm.
I couldn't have a healthy pregnancy. So I had a child at 40 and I had a
Mhm.
child at 42
Mhm.
prior to getting this cancer diagnosis, which is why you see why I was a warrior. I was always a warrior because I was always like, what do I have to do? That's what I used to
Mhm.
ask. What do I have to do? Whatever news came to me, that was what do I have to do?
Yeah.
Now I go, what do I feel?
Mm.
It's a difference in the way I respond 15 years ago than the way I do now.
Yeah. 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 So it's, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're making me think about something because, and it's not that you are thanking the cancer, thing that happened upon your life, but it's how you, once again, how you respond to it. You are a different person, than you were,
Mhm.
you know, before the cancer
Yeah.
diagnosis. Uh, if you had not um, gone under this whole cancer thing, if you had not experienced this, who would you be now? Would you be that spiritual person? Who would you be?
It's hard to say because it is what it is, and I got the
Yeah,
diagnosis, and
yeah.
it's changed my whole life. I don't think I would have been as happy as I am now,
Wow.
genuinely happy in my heart. I don't think
That's
I would have
amazing.
been I wouldn't have been self-aware. I wouldn't have the empathy that I have now.
Mm.
I wouldn't have the love that I have for myself and others and my God universe.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have had that because I didn't have that.
Right.
I mean, I was brought up with no religion.
Yeah.
My mother, because of the hardship she went through, she was an agnostic.
Hmm.
So there was no religion in my house growing up.
Hmm.
And so we were kind of like Catholic, right?
Hmm.
Because I was baptized and my grandparents were Catholics. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but at 11 years old, I took myself to church and did my communion
Mm.
because I knew at that time that I needed something that was higher than myself. I just
Mm.
didn't know how to verbalize it.
11 years old.
11 years old. And so when the church told my mother, right? Because I forgot what it's called, but you start in September and you go all the way through April, May. And then I got a note saying that I wasn't going to do my communion. And, my mother was not happy that I had already enrolled myself without her permission. I faked her signature,
Oh,
because I'm
wow.
resourceful. That's what kids from the South Bronx do.
Yeah.
They're resourceful. And and when she found out that they weren't going to allow me to do my communion because they've never met my parent, my mother went over there, Mama Bear, and she was like, "You are not telling this child that she is not getting her communion. Do you know what this child did to get here against my beliefs? My
Mhm.
daughter will do her communion." And I'm just
Wow.
using these words, but because I can imagine the words my mother used.
Yeah.
I did my communion at 11 years old. They allowed,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. I think at
But
that time I knew I needed, that there was something higher than me that I needed.
yeah, 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 yeah. You knew that once again, like you said, there was something higher. And but at the same time too, you were aware, even at, 11 years old, uh, that, like you said, there was something higher. Now, you have, but I just find it so amazing. The person, like you say, I'm happier, I'm more aware, I'm more empathetic, you know, all those things. Like I said, that in itself, you know, because we have the options, so many choices to go the other route,
Mhm.
to be angry, to be desperate, to want to throw it all away. But you turned it around. And now
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about you and what you're doing, because I really want to know, and I want our audience to know um, what you're doing to help and serve the cancer community and beyond. Because being in I'm a believer that, as much as it can be, and food can be, thy medicine, and if you allow it, if you build that relationship, like you said earlier,
Mhm.
with food, then it can serve you in the most amazing way.
Yes.
So let's share a little bit about, that part of who you are, with our audience, because I want to know how you're serving people, and your strategies, and what you got going on in your business.
Oh, I love to share. So I'll tell you, after doing so much work on myself, I had to ask myself, how do I want to live?
Mm,
What am I hungry for? What do I need that I don't have? And how do I get it?
mhm,
And for 2 years, I had that on my calendar. As a matter of fact, I had it on my iPhone, and every day it would come up, and those questions would come up. And I was saying, okay, because I knew that I was meant for something, but I didn't know what.
mhm,
And February of 2020, right before the pandemic, my sister calls me and she says, "Can you do me a favor? This woman's 27-year-old daughter just got diagnosed with stage 4 negative breast cancer. Can
mhm,
you please talk to her? Because she's not good. And she wants to help her daughter and she doesn't know how." And I said, "Of course." I get on the phone with her. I had no idea that I've known this woman for 15 years, but didn't know her because she was
mhm,
friends with my brother.
mm, mm.
So it was personal, right? It
Yeah,
got
yeah,
personal.
yeah.
And so we get on a call and I let her ask me any questions she has because I know what it feels like to just want to help someone and you've got so many questions. And she was like, she was really unhappy with the way the news was told to her daughter. She was really unhappy with the lack of support that she's received. And then I said, and I don't know how I thought about this, but I said, here are the 7 things that I encourage you to do. 1, take a deep breath. 2, a second opinion. Get a second and
Right.
a third opinion. 3, elevate your nutrition. 4, elevate your spiritual sense. Believe in something that's higher than yourself. It doesn't matter who, what, just upgrade your physical movement
Mm-hmm.
and get support.
Mm.
And when she thanked me, it was the first time in a long time that I felt I was able to receive, and I received her gratitude like nothing I've ever received before. Like my heart was like da-dum, 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 and then my fingers started to tingle, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, I mean, but this I'm talking internally, not externally. No one could
Yeah,
see
yeah,
this. This was
yeah,
on the inside, and I was like, oh, and I went, "I'm gonna be a cancer coach," and I had no
yeah,
idea what that meant. Like,
yeah.
even she just went. She didn't. I don't think she even acknowledged it because I just threw it out there. Like, I'm gonna be
She
a
was still
cancer
on the
coach.
phone with you?
Yeah, she's on the phone
Oh,
with me, and I just looked up like God universe is up in this,
wow.
healing.
Wow.
But I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what it looked like, what it sounded like, what it felt like. But I knew what I felt,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
knew that this was. I had to pursue this. I knew that this was a calling, and
Mm.
so I started. I got on Google. I love Google for that, and I started looking for a school because you know, my heart said, "Oh, we're going to be a cancer coach. We're going to help so many people." My mind said, "Cancer coach? You don't know anything about being a cancer coach.
Mm-hmm.
I've coached as a manager,
Mm-hmm.
but I've never been a cancer coach. What do you know? You don't have a degree. You don't have a certification. You don't have this. You don't have that." And then my ego said, "Oh, no, no, no. We like being an investment banking administrative manager.
Mm.
We like the money we're making. We like the house we live in. No, 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 we're not doing that." And it took me a few weeks
Mm-hmm.
of recognizing that I had to do things differently than I've ever done them.
Mm-hmm.
So for the first, 50 years of my life, I lived according to the mind and the ego.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like,
Mm-hmm.
once I had this revelation, I was like, no, the heart is the leader. The mind and the ego are going to follow and support. And
Mm.
that's the way it's going to be for the rest of my life.
Awesome.
Now, for me to say that, that's one thing, right? But then I had to keep going back. I mean, I had to figure it out on my own because who was I going to
Yeah.
talk to? I mean, who
Yeah.
was I going to tell that, hey, I got 3 parts of myself and I talk to myself. I don't know about
Mm-hmm.
other people, but I'm odd like that. And
Yeah.
so, every once in a while when I, as I'm doing the research for the school, my mind is going, no, 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 we don't have $15,000 to pay for this certification. I mean, it was always this pushback, but I kept going back and going, listen, we're all going to be happy because we're going to help people. This is what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mm-hmm.
why you took chemotherapy for 13 years. This is
Mm-hmm.
this isn't an accident. This is a calling. This is our legacy. Of course, the
Mm-hmm.
ego was like, we like
Yeah.
that word legacy. Sounds
Yeah.
good. And so I had, for 3 years, I kept going back and forth with my ego and my mind, getting them on board. And can I
Mm-hmm.
tell you, they're on board.
They're on board. And
Yeah.
that's a hard thing to do.
Oh, I
Oh,
mean,
again,
yeah,
it takes
because I had
people a
to,
lifetime.
I had to change my core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The core. So you mean the core meaning the heart.
Right. I had to
Core.
change everything from
Right.
the inside. All my changes came
Inside.
from the inside out. It wasn't from
Mm-hmm.
the outside in, which is why I
Mm-hmm.
love being a nutrition and cancer coach, because again, nutrition is the foundation.
Yeah.
And for me, nutrition again is mental, physical, and spiritual nutrition. So the mental
Gotcha.
nutrition is, how do you want to live?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we don't want to live with regret. We want to make sure that when we are no longer on this earth and we're moving to the next world, that we're like, we're ready. We've done everything we wanted to do. We've loved everyone we wanted to do. We've hugged everyone. We've visited every country we wanted. And then the physical part is the nutrition, is the food nutrition, is the physical movement, I've exercised every day of my life. That's probably another
Mhm.
reason why I don't look my age.
Yeah.
And then the spiritual, the devotion to self,
Yeah.
the devotion to something higher than me, that I have to have faith. Like right
Mhm.
now, I'm working. Everything I'm doing right now is on faith.
Mhm.
I have no model. I don't know a cancer coach. There is
Mhm.
no, I don't know any other cancer coaches. I'm making it up as I go along. I'm the pioneer. That's
Yes,
scary.
yes, you're laying the foundation. But
I'm
I
laying the
can't,
foundation.
yeah, I can't, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you today, because I was like, people need to hear about you and that you exist.
Yeah.
Be- and because like you were talking, that your nutrition coming in the sense of spiritual nutrition, your food nutrition, all these things, and just being beyond food,
Mhm. Yeah.
and your apples and oranges and things like that. But the
Yeah.
spiritual nutrition, all those things matter in your fight for
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
All of this, because it's like I said earlier, it's so easy to want to throw in a towel.
Oh,
My
yeah.
goodness. And we all face those decisions on some level to a degree,
Yeah.
throughout our lives. If you live past the age of 25 and probably even before. But so give me an idea of, okay, of your program, because you shared your program, and it is extensive in terms of your nutrition and all of these things. If you don't mind, maybe in a smaller, synopsis here of what it looks like um, to guide someone down this path of creating a better relationship with food that's dealing with cancer. Because I'll be honest with you, I know some people that are still struggling with diet, and they're dealing with cancer. They're still struggling. And how does that, if it impacts those cancer cells within the body?
And I think it does. So I created the 3 pillars of nutrition: the mental,
Hmm.
physical, and the spiritual, right? And it's a modern approach to wellness where the focus
Hmm.
is the whole being, and
Hmm.
understanding that there are various factors at play that come to living a healthy life. And by
Hmm.
focusing on these 3 pillars, science, psychology, spirituality, we get to dig deeper and find the true cause of illness, which is where the
Hmm.
true health and wellness can begin. So, you can't not change your diet until you figure out why are you eating those chips, because
Hmm.
there's a deeper meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and for me, so it's all about asking questions.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I I'm not a therapist. So a therapist is someone that you go to for mental illness. A coach is someone that helps you meet your mental fitness goals.
Hmm. Hmm.
I am not a doctor.
Hmm.
I don't give diagnosis. I don't tell my clients what they should work on.
Hmm.
My clients come to me, they complete a questionnaire. We dissect the questionnaire. I ask them the 3 things that they want to work on, and that's where we begin.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
client dictates where we go, because it's
Hmm.
not my success, it's their success.
Right.
I need
Right.
to meet them where they're at. I don't know where they're at. So I
Hmm.
will never, ever tell somebody this is what you should work on. So
Yeah.
after they complete a questionnaire, they say, okay, Zoraida, these are the 3 things I want to work on. I'm going to give you some examples. I want to up level my nutrition,
Hmm.
right? I notice that I give my power away.
Hmm.
I like to work on that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't have a relationship with something higher than myself. Or let's put it this way, I don't have a good relationship with myself,
Myself.
because no
Yeah, I
one
was gonna
teaches
say
us
that.
anything about self-love, right? We're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
brought up to take care of others,
Yeah.
but no
Yeah.
one, putting yourself first,
Yeah.
right? Even with a family, even with at your job. So these are some of the things that people want to work on. So
Mm-hmm.
for instance, so all I do is ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I because the primary role of a coach is to support and guide. We have a questioning technique. We do listening, and we have accountability.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the questions go like, well, okay, so last week you said that you wanted to up-level your nutrition and that you were going to eat more plant-based food. But you telling me here that you had some potato chips. Okay, tell me about the potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
What made you have the potato chips? What were you thinking? What were you feeling? What was the void? Did you have a void? Because when we're eating something, it's usually because we're missing something else in our life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the person can say, you know what, I was frustrated. I had such a rough day. I just needed the chips to make me feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what did the potato chips do for you? Oh, it made me feel better. And how did it make you feel better? And there's going to be questions that the person sometimes cannot answer. And they have to
Yeah.
now come back to the, sometimes
Yeah.
people say, I got to get back to you on that. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they come back and say, you know what? I wanted to celebrate something and I had no one to celebrate it with.
Yeah.
Or I wanted to celebrate something and I didn't want to share it with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ah, that says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those two things right there say a lot.
Right.
Because
Right.
she's eating chips to celebrate, but she didn't want to share, right?
Mm-hmm.
One person didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
share with others. Why? Why didn't you want to share it with the people that you love the most? What does that relationship look like?
Right. Right.
So there's, I could keep asking questions and then
Yeah.
we keep
Just dig and
uncovering
dig and dig.
more,
Yeah.
more,
Yeah.
more. So everyone's journey is different.
True.
And it may seem so simple. Oh my God. Let me tell you, and this is in with nutrition, but I just spoke to someone the other day.
Mm-hmm.
She said to me, I want to be more focused on my goals. Right? That was one of the
Mm-hmm.
3 things she wanted to work on. Um, I said, okay, so tell me how you're meeting your goals. So she said, well, I'm using my calendar, I'm using the iPhone, and I'm using something else. I said, okay. Is that working for you? Yes, it's working for me. And I'm going to make
Mm-hmm.
it brief because I know we don't have a lot of time. And then I
Oh,
said,
okay.
well, what have you tried that hasn't worked? And she went, you know, this has been working for me very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so are you meeting? It seems to me like you're meeting your goals. Because I was like, I'm kind of rushing it. So
Yeah.
at the end, I was like, I don't know. It looks like you're meeting your goals. Would you, am I correct? And she went, I am meeting my goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, so what I'm hearing from you is you don't need help focusing on your goals. What are you really here for?
Right.
And it took her a minute or two and it was silent for 2
Yeah.
minutes. We did this on Zoom because she lives in another part of the world.
Yeah.
And she said, I think I just need accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
she goes, thank you. I am meeting my goals. I didn't realize that. She goes, I was hard on myself. I said, because I told
Yeah.
her, I want you to give yourself a little grace, give yourself
Mm-hmm.
some love here. You're doing a lot. You've got a
Yeah.
family, you've got a job, you've got these goals, and you're
Yeah.
kicking ass.
Yeah.
I said, and she was like, I didn't even realize it. I am a badass.
Mm-hmm.
So then she recognized that what she needed was accountability. So then we used the SMART goals to say, okay, so You want accountability? Well, how do you want accountability? When do you want accountability? In what form? And so we talked about um, using a text app, uh,
Mhm, mhm,
her receiving uh, a quick message from me on
mhm,
certain days, like,
mm,
hey,
yeah,
how's it going? Or I can send her something inspirational that would kind of like um, help her recognize, like, oh, let me think about XYZ.
yeah.
And it was so
That's
beautiful.
Yeah, what an awesome story. What an awesome story. And once again, I am just so impressed with, what you have done, who you've been. But now I'm really looking forward to, your growth in the days coming. There's a lot of work to do,
Yeah.
you know, to how can I say, to help people understand how powerful they are. Um,
Thank you, because you're allowing me to do that. So now you're part of, you know, I do a lot of podcasts, and one of the reasons I do this is because I want, you know, I write stories and posts, but when people see me and they hear me and
mhm.
they see how I'm passionate about helping others, because I know what it was, because I didn't have a cancer coach.
Right,
That's
right.
why I did this. I didn't have a cancer coach. I had to learn all by myself how to work with different people and understanding what I needed. And I'm like, I'm not the only one.
Hmm, hmm,
So
hmm.
I don't want to hear of anyone else going through any chronic illness
Yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
learning that they're alone, that they don't have, that they're not getting the emotional support from family and friends. Because listen, not everybody knows how to support a cancer survivor either.
Yeah, yeah.
Because who's brought up learning those tools? And some people don't have those tools, and you can't give what you've never received.
Mm,
Because,
hmm,
and which again
hmm,
goes back in deep. My mother couldn't give me what I needed because she had never received empathy, love, support, caring, all that the way I needed it, because she's never received it herself.
hmm,
Not to say that she
hmm.
had bad parents,
Yeah,
but she was born in the 40s, and
yeah,
life
yeah.
was different back then. And again, she was born in poverty. So
Generation, generation,
it's,
generation.
yeah. And so you can't give what you've never seen, heard, felt, and been mirrored. You just
Hmm,
can't. And
hmm,
so I knew that I had to, for me, I knew I had to work within myself, because that was my goal. That was what I wanted. Remember,
hmm,
I'm a goal-oriented person, right? I'm like,
hmm,
okay, how do I want to live my life? So when I leave this space and I go to the next space, I want there to be a celebration. There will be no crying. I will not have any tears about what I'm missing, because I'm not missing anything. I've already done everything that I wanted to do.
hmm,
I've already, spent time with the people that I love. Like, I have a whole new set of friends than I used to have, because I have different values now. And so
hmm.
I want to be aligned with those people,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they make
yeah.
my life, you know, Nipsey Hussle says, if you look around and you're not inspired, you don't have a a circle, you have a cage.
Mm,
I felt like
mm,
I was in, looking back in hindsight,
hmm.
I felt like I was in a cage, but I was in
Yeah,
my own little cage, because you
yeah,
don't know what you don't know. I
yeah,
thought I was
yeah.
happy. I was making a lot of money. I had this big house, 2 cars. My kids went to private school. I was working 10-hour days. It wasn't perfect, but I thought I was happy because I was no longer that kid in the South Bronx. But I still had all that angst, and from as though I was still in the South Bronx.
Hmm,
I
hmm,
was just hiding
hmm.
it very well. Very,
Yeah.
very well.
You were living the American dream, you know. Um, but I'll go back to what you said earlier, and that really took me by surprise. And I won't say surprise. I was just like I was pleasantly, let me say pleasantly surprised that I'm happier, I'm more empathetic because that's what we're striving. That's what we should be striving anyway. Yes, we can have the cars, we can have the beautiful home, all of those things. But at the end of the day, when you lay your head down and you ask that question, am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Am I joyful?
Yeah.
And if you come up with anything less than, whatever, you've got some work to do.
Yes.
You've got some work to do. You've put in the work,
I'm still
and
doing the work.
yeah,
God, I'm going to
I
be
don't think
doing
the
the
work,
work.
I don't think the work ever stops,
It never
you know.
stops.
Yeah,
There's
as long as we're
self-awareness never
here, yeah,
stops.
yeah, as long as we're here, we're gonna. But you have to be open forward. You have to be open to it because
Yeah.
if we can ignore it, I don't know if we'll come back to it at another lifetime or whatever,
Yeah.
but you are at least aware enough to work to know that there's work to be done and you're working on it. And me too. That's, I have to like turn myself around constantly and say, okay, who am I? That's the question I'm always asking myself. Who am I?
What
And
do I
it's not,
stand
you
for?
know, yeah, exactly. It's not just I'm coming up with a name, Todd,
Yeah.
because that's not who I am,
Right.
I have to dig a little deeper. And I appreciate your strategies for working with your clients and to dig deeper because you got to get to the source. You got to
Yeah.
get to the
Because look,
source.
as a coach, you don't want to work with me forever, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So you
yeah,
work with me for 3 months, 6 months. That's it.
yeah.
I mean, some people want to work with me longer. That's fine. But especially when it comes to cancer takes a little longer. There's a lot more to unravel. And look,
Hmm.
I know people, I've suggested to certain clients that I think you need a therapist because as I'm unraveling things, I see
Hmm.
that there's so much from in the childhood that I couldn't possibly.
I'm
I'm
not,
a
yeah,
certi-
exactly.
right. I'm a certified nutrition person. I'm a certified cancer coach, but I'm not a therapist.
Right.
So
And
I've had to say
same here.
to
Yeah.
I've had to
Same
say
here.
to someone, listen, there, you just the things you just told me blew me away. It's
Hmm.
going to I- you, I encourage you to hire a therapist. If you want to continue working with me, that's great. We can work in tangent. But you need the therapist first. There's more to uncover. Um, because it all starts with us on the inside. And sometimes we don't know what we've been keeping down and not thinking about. It's like that ball in the pool.
Hmm. Hmm.
My mother told me when we were younger, oh, don't think about him, my father. Don't think about him. You don't need him. People who don't need you, you don't need them. So stop
Hmm.
thinking about it and that's it.
Hmm.
Well, it was always there. It was just hidden. And it was actually not always hidden because it actually came out in every relationship that I had.
Hmm. Hmm.
In business relationship, love relationship, sibling relationship, friendship relationship, because it's always there. It's that ball in the pool that the moment you take your hand out of the pool, it comes up, it smacks you, it wets you
Hmm.
because you're getting triggered.
Hmm.
And
That's
so
good.
I recognized that that wasn't working.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
through therapy, that helped me. And I said to myself, wow, how do I want to show up? See, it all came back to me. And look, it was all about how I wanted to show up. What kind of person did I want to be? I wanted to be a different person on the
Hmm.
inside. People
Hmm.
may not see it. Like some people do. My kids notice a difference. My ex-husband notices a difference.
Hmm. Hmm.
um, and some friends notice a difference, but some others, they just feel like, oh, who does she think she is? She thinks she's better than us?
Hmm.
No,
Hmm.
I'm not judging anyone. I'm just doing
Hmm.
what's best for me. This
Right,
is what's
right.
best for me. And if you're not
Wow.
going to support me, I can't spend time with you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's unfortunate, but there's a lot of people that I used to be close with that I cannot be with anymore because those people are hindering my success. They're not
yeah.
rooting for me. They're not
Interesting.
supporting me. I need to
Yeah.
be just like the people that I surround myself with, people that I can support and root for. I want the same thing for myself because you know what? I'm worth it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that before.
Wow.
I didn't
Wow.
know that I was worth it. So I made bad decisions. I married, I wouldn't say I married the wrong person, but I should have never married that person.
Mhm.
I shouldn't have taken that job. There's
Mhm.
always these little things that in hindsight I know now, but those things happen for me, not to me. And so I had to
Mhm.
change the way my language, the way I speak about myself. Now I speak to myself I'm my own best friend. I parent myself the way I parent my children.
Wow.
And, I still don't get it all right,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I am my biggest supporter. I have
Wow.
great people surrounding me, but I root for me.
Hmm.
I never knew how to do that before.
Wow.
I did
That's
not
amazing.
think I was worth it. And so when my mother told me, "Who do you think you are?" When I told her I was getting a divorce, she said, "Who do you think you are? No one's happy in a 24-year marriage. Just have an affair." I
Okay.
said,
Yeah.
"You know what? This isn't about sex.
Hmm.
This is about me and what
Hmm.
I want as a human being and what I deserve. I
Hmm.
deserve being with a man who loves me, who I want to be in a delicious, fun, loving, caring, empathetic relationship.
Hmm.
I'm not in that anymore.
Hmm.
I'm going to do what is best for me. And if you cannot support me, I need you to step aside
Right. Isn't that interesting?
because I'm going to do it anyway."
Yeah.
And because I did that, I actually ended up writing a chapter in a book for single parents. You see? And look, I just
Yes.
finished writing. Matter of fact, today I'm editing a chapter in a book on my cancer journey.
Yes. Yes. So what book is that? Is
So I am writing a chapter in, what is it called? Cancer Perspectives. And I'll make sure to give
okay.
you information when it
Excellent.
comes out because it's coming out in February, I think. I'm doing
Around
the
the
final
corner.
edits tonight, actually, after I take off my makeup and put my hair in a bun.
I got you.
um, and so this is volume 2. So this gentleman, he's awesome. His name is Tim Son. He's my brother.
Hmm.
He and I had the same cancer. We got diagnosed in the same year. His cancer came back in 2023. That's the only
Hmm.
difference. I'm still in
Hmm.
remission. But
Hmm.
he is a producer. Um, he produces cancer perspective shows because he
Hmm.
wants to give cancer survivors and cancer advocates and cancer caregivers a voice and hope. And so this is volume 2. And it has about 10 chapters, all from different authors on their own perspectives on cancer. Now, mine is unique because not only am I a cancer survivor, but I'm a cancer coach. And I'm actually getting my certification in the next few weeks.
Well, I tell you, now this is what I always tell people is that we all have a book inside of us.
We do,
Um,
every one of
yes,
us, because
yes, yes,
there's all it takes is one, you just want one person to find hope in your story. That's all you,
yes,
one person.
yes, yes. And so I'm looking forward to your book coming out because I'm pretty sure we just kind of like touched some of the surface of your life's journey. And like I said, I'm listening to you today and I'm hearing even more. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to one day when you write your book and you'll leave your legacy here and
I look forward
showing
to that
people,
day.
yes, showing people, as I always tell my wife, that they have options in life. And as a lot of us don't think that we have options. We feel as though we have to do this, live this life in one direction. And so I would love to hear, what you have going on today in terms of your business. What promotions are you doing? What do you have going on? And you can share that with
Oh,
my
I
audience.
love to.
Yes, please
So,
do.
here we are, right? It's January. My kids are about to go back to college. And so I'm ready to do my own nutrition cleanse. And I do a transformational nutrition cleanse. And I've been doing cleanses for years, but the one I've been doing for the last 3 years, which is from my school, is phenomenal because it embodies the mental, the physical, and the spiritual, which is why I went to the school, because and it was hard to find this school because there is not, I know what I was doing for myself. I wanted a school that reflected that. And so it's called a transformational nutrition cleanse. It's a 21-day. It has a program guide. It has cleansing recipes. It has even a 21 done for you meal plan. And it's mind, body, and soul. So you're taking probiotics, right? You are meditating. You're spending time being instead of doing all the time. You're doing a 10-minute yoga. So it's a different cleanse because it's a cleansing. It's more, for me, it's like a cleansing of my soul. Now I eat clean. I eat clean as a lifestyle. For the last 3 years, I've been eating clean. Not 100% because, we live in America and there's chemicals everywhere. But for the most part, I eat clean. But, the holidays just happen. I eat a lot of butter. I eat a lot of pecan pie. Because, you got to have pecan pie. You've got to have birthday cake. You've got to have a martini every once in a while. And so this cleanse, it just gives you a moment to be and have intentions of how you want to live the rest of the year. For me, I don't do resolutions. I do intentions. And so I really like this program, and I've done it 3 times, and I've given it to all my friends. And what it does, it takes out all these toxins out of your body, the spiritual toxins out of the physical toxins, the mental toxins, how you talk to yourself. It does all that for you. And at the end of 21 days, I lose like 5 pounds. My skin is better. It's radiant. I'm feeling successful. I'm feeling confident because I just did something that was a bit tough, right? Because, making changes, right? It takes 21 days to
break a habit.
Right. And so there's going to be discomfort as you're doing it. It's not going to be all comfort. But the fact that after that, you're feeling this self-confidence. Wow, I just did something that was really tough. Pat yourself on the back. You gave yourself so much love. You gave yourself attention. You gave yourself time to just be instead of being the doer. And I'm a doer. I mean, I love crossing something off my to-do list. It's an aphrodisiac for me. But I'm learning to just be.
Wow.
And so I would love to offer it to your listeners.
I
think this is a great time to do it. And let me tell you, I do this 2 or 3 times a year. So it doesn't have to be in January. But if they want to get in touch with me at zoraida@zoraidamorales.com, email me. I'm happy to send you the whole guide. There's about 5 different PDFs. And, I actually include it when I offer my nutrition or cancer coaching packages free. I give them that free because, the packages include the one-on-one with me.
Gotcha.
Right? And so I give them a cleanse and I give them a diet as well.
Right.
And they also get other things included in there. But I want to give your listeners, I want to give them a tool. I want to give them a resource to, if they're ready, if they want it,
totally fine.
To do something different, to do something out of your comfort zone. Even if you don't finish the whole thing, the fact that you even finish a week is a big success. And so what I want people to go away with this is, no matter how you use this, if you use it the way it's intended, mind, body, and soul, you are going to get the most awesome results. But even if you use it for less days, or you're still going to get something. You're going to get so much out of it. You're going to smile. You're going to radiate. Um, it's going to be the beginning for something else. I know that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Zoraida, for hanging out with us.
Thank
And I want you to
you.
kind of like share with us one more time your website where people can find you and also your email address.
So my website is zoraidamorales.com.
Hmm.
Um, you can email me for the nutrition plan at zoraidamorales.com.
Okay. Awesome. So everybody, please write her information down. I'm going to be, putting it up on the thing anyway, doing my post production part of this whole thing. But once again, I'm truly inspired by your story and
Oh, thank
just
you.
inspired by you as an individual, because um, you give hope, you know,
That's what I want to
in
give people.
yeah,
I want
in an
people to come out
environment.
with hope. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. In an environment where it's like I said, it's easy to not have hope. And there's more pulling at us to not have hope than there is for us
Oh,
to
yeah. The
yeah.
universe,
And
well, I wouldn't say the universe, but if you think no one else, no one is really rooting for you.
yeah,
As a
yeah,
society, we all have to root for ourselves. And only
yeah,
you know what you need and what you want, because your heart will
yeah,
tell you. Your heart tells
yeah,
you. When your heart is not in alignment, you're not happy. Your heart is not happy.
exactly.
You're not
Yeah,
sleeping well. You may be more irritable. Everything, it comes back to the heart. All comes
calls
back
back
to
to the
the
heart.
heart.
And we overlook that so often in this Western culture.
Yeah.
The ego, once again, we're directed and are taught to rely more of what is traditionally been implanted, in our minds,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of fear and all those things placed in there. So once again, like I said, I'm inspired by you because you give hope, and you are hope in that sense of where you were and who you are now. And so you're living it and you're being it, and that's what I appreciate about you. And so
Well, thank
once
you.
again, I want to say thank you for hanging out with us. And I
Oh,
know
my
that this is the
pleasure.
beginning of an ongoing conversation between you and I, an ongoing, hopefully, friendship
I love that.
between, yes, you and I. And I'm all about really just, I want to surround myself with people that are just doing awesome and living awesome lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I will definitely I look forward to reconnecting and connecting with you,
I love that.
over and over again.
I
Okay.
love that. Thank you. And let me just
Yes.
say one more thing, that I actually walk alongside my clients.
Hmm.
I don't know everything. I struggle with my health. I struggle with um, being good to myself, just like
Hmm.
everybody else,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
what I love is that I get to walk alongside my client. I'm going through the same things they're going through.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I am no different. I've just have 15 years more experience. But
Right.
because once you're a cancer diagnosed, you're always struggling with your health, mental,
Hmm.
physical, and spiritual.
Hmm.
It's not going to end
Yeah. Yeah.
until you're no
Yeah.
longer in this space.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm in that unique situation, and now I'm going to, I have a lot of things that I'm working on for 2024. I'm collaborating with others. I'm so excited about what can happen, because the more people that I can reach, the more people that I can let them know that you are worthy, you deserve to live with peace, love, and joy in your heart,
Mm. Mm.
with or
Mm.
without chemo.
Mm.
That's everything for me.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you once again, Zarina, for hanging out. Okay.
Thank you.
Everyone, what a conversation. And every time I speak with her, I'm just like, wow, I'm amazed. And the one thing that, like I said, want you to leave with today, and she spoke about it, is that you are worthy. I can't say that enough. Um, and my goodness, just understand that. And if you can begin to start to think that you are worthy, your life turns around, wherever you are in your life right now.
I am
But
worthy.
I hope, yeah, exactly, you are worthy, and
Say it while you're in
just
the shower,
yes,
while you're
exactly. Don't
cooking,
be afraid to say that.
as you're getting dressed.
Right,
I
as you're
have so
getting
many.
dressed, I
Listen,
love me.
I'd be
I am
happy to
worthy.
I'd be happy to forward affirmations with meditations on I am worthy. I listen to them all
Yes,
the time. My children,
yes.
they already know if you're coming to anywhere in my space, you're gonna hear that. Um, I'd be happy to guide anyone as
Yes,
much as I
please.
can. Yes, yes.
It's all about the work, inner work, people. It's all about the inner work. And just like I said, starting with those three words, I am worthy.
Yeah.
So once again, take this information, listen to it, but don't just listen to it. Get in contact with her, take action. If you're dealing with a cancer situation, or if you're just dealing with nutrition, or health, or what have you, this is why we bring people to living your best life. So we want to
I love
reach out to these people out in the trenches that are doing that, helping people live their best lives. So once again, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us on the show today, and I'm looking forward to an awesome 2024. I know I'm worthy, okay, and I'm worth it.
Yes, you
And
are.
so let's march into 2024 with courage,
With courage.
with courage, and uh uh and just
I
live
love that.
like, yeah, just live and love a lot and laugh a lot. Anyone that knows me knows that I love to laugh. So I'm a jokester, and that's something that's always going to be in my toolbox, in my toolkit.
Oh, yeah,
But
I'm all about laughter.
yes.
And listen, thank you.
Thank you.
I hope that you and I, remain working. Maybe we can even work together in
Yes.
2024. I
Yes.
just thank you for this platform. I love what you're doing. I love the fact that you're giving people hope as well. And
Mm,
letting people know that there's so many options out there. It doesn't have to look the way it used to look before. Being healthy, mind, body, and soul is different now. Come 2024 and beyond, it's totally different than we've ever experienced before. So you
mhm,
are
mhm.
giving people like me this platform. Thank you for being a healer because you're healing as well. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for hanging out with us once again. So listen, like our page, share our page, okay? Because we want this information to get out to the people and
Yeah.
to everyone, and let them know what we're doing here. And once again, helping people to live their best lives. So everyone, it's Todd Cheek signing off with another episode. We'll catch you on the next time of Living Your Best Life. Y'all take care.